Greetings, gods and goddesses in training. Welcome back to the channel. It is Uncle Makara. All relations. Let's get started today with today's video on how you can use your spirit guides to help you calm your nervous system and help you with your anxiety, okay? Now, I used to really struggle with anxiety growing up, and I used to have these very terrifying panic attacks. Now, I wish I knew this kind of information back then, because ultimately, there's a sense of inner peace that is required for you to understand that you are not separate from anyone. You get what I mean? And that's the true beauty of the panic attack, is that it's a wake-up call from the body, giving you signals in terms of it wants you to stay safe, right? But what happens is we feel separated whenever we're feeling in fear. Whenever we're feeling a fear, we feel separate from everybody else. We feel lonelier. We feel isolated. We feel fragmented or split inside, almost, in a sense. So one of the first things to understand is use spirit guides that automatically represent the idea of calm, okay? So when you associate with the idea of calm, your nervous system will obviously calm, right? So this kind of welcome home frequency is very required for you to actually tap into this, okay? Now I'm thinking of a few guides in mind. I mean, Kuan Yin's energy is coming up. Vishnu's energy is coming up as a kind of balancer, preserver energy. Who are other guides that are very high vibrational? Any of the angelic energies are very powerful for this. Any of the ascended master energies are very powerful for this. Certain high vibrational ET energies are also a part of this, okay? So certain star beings. Now, I want you to get something that's very powerful. I am now the emanation of blank, okay? So if let's just use the Buddha as an example. I am now the emanation of Buddha, right? And as you say that, you can actually then just feel into your energy as you just made that proclamation, right? That declaration, that decree, that command into the world. So you can use your words to command yourself to calm, actually. I command my body to calm right now, right? And so by first of all using deity yoga, which means essentially you're merging with the energy of that being, and you and that being become one, right? That's the yoga aspect of this. So this is spirit guide yoga. And so if you can understand that you have a visualization where this being is resting in your heart space, and you are slowly dissolving into this being, and you're seeing through their eyes, and you are experiencing the world through their nervous system, right? And the cool thing is these beings are not attached to time, so they will totally help you with anxiety, because what happens in anxiety is it future projects you into a timeline that's the worst case scenario in the future, right? And this is what tends to happen. However, these beings, they're not bound by space-time. So they will come to show you, like, let's say Mahakal, right? Let's say we use the energy of Mahakal, the great timekeeper itself, right? Now, this is also the protector energy of Primal Sutra, so I call upon him quite a few times. And his energy is very, very powerful, and I like to use Pet as an invocation to kind of bring that energy alive and activate it. Now, what's really interesting is you can invoke these beings by just keeping them in your mind, right? If you have their imagery in your mind, and if you work with their energies, it will really help you, right? It will really calm your system down, and you'll be able to stay connected to this, right? So one of the things that I've recognized when it comes down to being very stressed out or panicked is you gotta have longer exhales than inhales, okay? Your inhales can be short and sharp, but your exhales have got to be really, really slow as you can make it, so your parasympathetic nervous system gets activated, right? You can also hum in a very low tone, a very deep voice. Hum in a very deep voice. See if you can bring the tonality down a little bit when you're doing this. And you will start to notice also, like, wiggling your toes is a very good way to stay grounded and present in the present moment, right? So just like pressing your feet into the ground, clenching your toes like this, sometimes even tensing your calf muscles or things like this, or even kind of like a little bit bent knees, right? So you can tap into the lower body, right? So you can do a general kind of invocation that says, I call upon the divine alignment of all of my spirit guides who are associated with healing, with connection, with nervous system regulation. May they be active and potent within my energy body. Now, now, now. Amen. Swaha. Okay, end with some kind of a statement, amen, swaha, so be it. One of these declaration sentences that really helps to calm the nervous system down, okay? Now, one thing you can do is you can infuse their aura with yours, okay? So if you imagine that they have little colors that are associated with them, associated with your aura. One of our adepts, Mathis, has Cyphery, whose energy is electric blue. So I highly recommend that you become a Primal Sutra adept to really go into these teachings with a lot more depth, right? You can get the surface level information from my videos, but why not talk to the source of it? You get what I mean? Like, why not talk to the actual person who can guide you along forwards? And so one thing to really consider when it comes down to this, guys, is to notice which energies, by hearing their names, fill you with a sense of ease and protection. Okay? I love, for instance, using the violet flame, and we love using the violet flame in this pathway. If you just visualize a violet flame around you, protecting you, it can be very, very powerful when confronted by very dense, staticky, lower vibrational energies, right? You'll notice, like, even Sadhguru, he'll do that. He'll whistle and then he'll snap his fingers. This is how he's actually activating and bringing in some of his guides and his energies, because this is what you do, guys. You have to change the vibrational frequency, okay? You have to change the tone and the way that you respond for these guides to recognize that, okay. It's kind of a paradox, because the annoying thing is, if you're feeling fear and heavy and depressed, you are automatically gonna attract lower astral beings into your field, right? So the first place you go to is the images in your mind, okay? Again, we talked about the reptile brain. I want you to start to understand the images in your mind is really potent. So don't ponder, the world is gonna be destroyed in your mind. Instead, you wanna change that imagery around into very calming, soothing imagery in nature. Thing that I like to do with my spirit guides is, and notice a lot of my guides also work a lot with time, Janus, Hermes, okay? These beings love to work with time and timelessness. And when you're in flow state, you have this feeling of timelessness. There is no sense of time, right? Because there's this freedom of just the being and doing merging, right? So that's a really powerful thing to note. If I give my guides authority to heal my physical body, right, or my energetic body, or any of my 5 bodies for that matter, it can actually help you in calming the nervous system down, okay? So let's say I'll ask one of my guides now, Shiva. Shiva, where in my body am I holding on to stress that I can release now? Thank you. So I'm getting a buzz in my third eye and a pressure in my heart, a little bit on my back. So now what I'll do is, Shiva, I give you full authority to clean this off of my energy body. So be it. So it is done. right, I feel lighter, right? I immediately feel lighter, and the heaviness or the denseness of the physical body is now relieving. And the kind of energy that I notice right now is my back's energy that was kind of, it's like someone is poking my back. It's almost starting to go upwards, like coil up my spine now. So that's really interesting, right? A lot of times we get these Kundalini traffic jams, and we just have to do a little bit of energy work here and there to just clear that bad boy up, right? And then we can move forward so it's clearer. One thing you can also try to do is like the spinal alignment, okay? So a lot of the times you might notice that if you have atlas or postural problems, or you have a difficult time sitting down, or these types of things, you got to understand that you can also give these guides permission to help you regulate your pranic channel, or your shushumna, which is your spinal column, okay? Now this is not so easily shared, but again, you already know, okay? This channel is not for the ordinary folk. These are for Flomo sapiens, ascended masters walking in this world, right? That's who we really are. The modern edge to it, a little twist to it, right? So your root chakra guide is usually associated with a very primal guide, or a guide that is very connected to the earth. And this kind of grounding energy can be very, very helpful in stabilizing yourself. So I of course love to tap into Chief Deno's energy, this tiger anamorph, were-tiger energy. What I'll do is I'll get on all fours like an animal, and I'll kind of crawl on the floor, right? And then I'll activate Chief Deno, and then I'll tell him, Chief Deno, please help me release the fear that is stuck in my mammal body, okay? Use the word mammal body, then they'll understand it, right? And you know how animals, they shake, or they, whenever they're going through a trauma, or they do certain things that help them to recalibrate their systems very quickly. So this is kind of what I use. It's kind of like a bioenergetic stress relief technique, where you just primal yell into the side of your arm, or you can, move your body more languidly. So you're basically understanding that you're moving more like water with that yin quality, right? That receptivity. It might even be very beneficial for you to use feminine guides or goddesses, right? Because their energies are very, very potent at times. Obviously, be careful which goddess you pick, because some of them are very strict, and they aren't to be messed with, okay? They aren't to be messed with in a sense. So you got to be careful on that. But generally, very calming guides can be very helpful for this, okay? Since I'm an audio shaman, I also like to ask my guides to infuse the sounds and the frequencies that I'm listening to, 432 hertz, 528 hertz. I will find a specific frequency, and then I'll tell them to help me encode these sounds. So I'll actually tell them something like, please embed this sound into my cellular field, okay? When you're anxious, you have too much energy, and there's no direction for that energy, correct? So when you are too much in your head, you're gonna get sinus issues, you're gonna get headaches, you're gonna get neck pain, you're gonna get all these different issues. But if you consciously bring the attention that's all the way up here, and you're feeling the pressure in your face, maybe eyes, facial muscular, armoring, and sort of bring it down into your heart space. And if you're living from the heart space, it's much easier to calm down, okay? And oftentimes you'll notice your guides already tell you this. Like whenever I call upon a guide, the first thing they tell me to do is drop in from the mind into the heart. Because guess what? The heart can activate you into that pure field of universal love, right? Whereas the mind can only create stories, fears, loops, right? It can create a mental imprint of that love, but it cannot get the feeling state of that love. That's why you need to go from head, or being in your logical mind, down more so in your breath, right? Where you're kind of letting your belly hang out like a fat baby, right? You're breathing through the front and the back of your body, creating this microcosmic orbit, right? So I actually work with a lot of dream spirit guides, including Somnus. Well, you know him as Hypnos maybe, but Somnus, the Roman version. We use Morpheus, okay, the Dream King, who has a great show on Netflix. Check it out, Sandman, okay. We also use phantomos as energy, who's more associated with like fantasies as well. So we use these dream guides to actually help us regulate our nervous system before sleep. So we'll use something very easy like lavender or magnesium lotion, or an essential oil of some kind, or maybe even like charge it in a melatonin gummy or something like this, right? This is what I do when I sleep. And so I will tell my dream guides, please make my nervous system feel safe for tomorrow, or give me a dream that can help me recalibrate my stress so that I can function accurately, right? You actually can speak to them, and before you head to sleep, make sure that you have a protective symbol next to your pillow when you're sleeping, okay? This is very powerful. So you could use the cross if you're Christian, right? You could use Christ's energy. You can use the Eye of Horus, which I love to use. He's one of my guides, and it's very protective to keep you away from negative dreams and nightmares and so forth. Lower astral beings and the astral realms, don't get stuck to you so much. So that's really key, is keeping a very protective symbol next to your bed, next to your pillow when you sleep, okay? So these are just some techniques, and if you want to know more in-depth kind of stuff, you can always ask me, okay? I just wanted to make this quick video today, and now I'm about to head to sleep, okay? Let's get it today. Upward spiral, gang. May we never be the same again. Peace.